Hey, Planeswalkers, hope you're doing well and staying safe. Welcome to this week's episode of Friday Night Meta. Yes, I missed by one day again, but I did it on purpose because we wanted some good information for you here today for a few different things. Now, with that said, appreciate you stopping by. Flip me a like, smash the subscribe. Love to see you around some more and hang out because we got a lot going on here today. So with that, you can check out the timestamps down below. We will cover some big news here off the bat. Then we'll dive into standard, alchemy, historic brawl, best of one and best of three. We'll break that down there for you in the timestamps with what the meta says and what's happening. And we'll close out with one other thing. Because of the nature of what's happened in a fresh new meta here, we don't have any new events. So we'll look forward to those next week, my friends. So with that said, again, thank you for tuning in. And let's get moving here. So first off, big events happen this week. Boom, ban and restricted announcements. Standard has been shaken up. We've got Elrond's Epiphany is banned, Divide by Zero is banned, Faceless Haven is banned. So as we move into the next set, we get a little bit of a change there, which is nice. A re-jockeying and positioning of the decks, which should make it fun for us as we move forward here before our lovely, lovely new set. So we got some changes to Legacy and also Historic. Memory Lapse is now banned from Suspended, and Teferi Time Traveler has been rebalanced and unbanned. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Next, leading into rebalancing, Alchemy has a big change up here, and we have the multiverse going on as well to see some fun new decks. Excited about that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But we got card buffs here. We have plenty of those. You can see all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to kill these for you, but maybe we'll see some new action here in terms of what's happening in the meta. Maybe we won't. We got card adjustments. Divide by Zero has been adjusted. The Fearsome Whelp's been adjusted. Hullbreaker's been adjusted. Inquisitor Captain's been adjusted. Lear's been adjusted. Sanguine, Town, Razor Tyrant, and then again that rebalancing Teferi Time Traveler is back. Time Raveler, not Traveler, but same thing. So that is what we have going on. Why did I want to touch on this? Because it has a huge impact for us today. The meta is different. Or 2 days in, less than that. And so I wanted to make sure that many of you could see this and why that was going on. So as things adjust, I certainly expect some of these decks to move around, both standard, alchemy, potentially historic as well, in the coming weeks as we do this. So looking forward to it. So first off here, here's what we got in best of one now. For standard, Orzhov controls in first, mono white aggro second. We got mono green Stompy, Orzhov clerics, mono black control, Gruul werewolves, dimmer zombies, and Izzet control. We can see everything happening here in terms of win rates. Some coming up, some coming down. Some pretty big shifts. Actually, not win rates, popularity in terms of the shift, which makes sense given the changes. And then we can look at the win rates over time. Again, kind of normalizing there, dropping down as well. So again, we got relatively a little bit of information, but that's, again, one of the main reasons why I wanted to wait here as we continue to see some of these things really change around. If we go to the more competitive scene, aggro is still first. We got Orzhov control, then clerics, and then everything else there. So we can look at that. We got Izzet control now popping up as well, and then again you can see what's happening. So we should see some pretty big changes next week. Now we'll quickly mainly go through the top tier meta here today, just so you can see platinum, you can see diamond again, and then last but not least you can see mythic Orzhov control. So if you'd like to see some of the other stuff, comment down below, let me know, and we can certainly do that. So I'm going to tighten the bands there in terms of what we have, so we can look at some of the more competitive space. Let's jump over to best of three. Boom, best of three. Mono green Stompy, Jund midrange, dimmer control at 25%. Certainly lots of changes, a little bit of data that generally can happen. We got Izzet turns there, Zor's control, all those things. So as you can see, it goes back. And we're looking at huge changes now. So look at this, mono green Stompy popping down. We got Jund midrange really coming up. getting stronger, and then the rest of the decks. Then we can look at the min rates, kind of going sideways. Very interesting to see this take on the dimmer there. So obviously, could certainly be a data issue and those kinds of things out of the gate here. Let's go ahead and move over to the competitive scene. Here's what we got going on. Mono green Stompy in first, Orzhov Clerics, mono white aggro, then Jund midrange following Selesnya Landfall back in there, which is kind of interesting. Gruul Werewolves as it turns, and Dimmer Control. So let's go ahead and we'll look at each of these spaces here more towards the competitive side. We got Diamond. There we go. Orzhov Clerics doing well. Mono white aggro. Rakdos Vampires doing well in Diamond. Jund midrange. Mono green Stompy. And then moving over to Mythic. Jund midrange. Absolutely wrecking Mythic right now. I shouldn't say absolutely. 2% is pretty good though. Mono green Stompy. Mono black Zombies as it turns. All that stuff. And you can see all those changes. So certainly a big change up going there in Standard. Let's go ahead and see what's going on in Alchemy. Alchemy, Selesnya life gains, #1 right now. Followed by Orzhov Control, Gruul Werewolves, Is It Mills doing well. Mono green Rumpty, Stompy, I love it. Zor's Control, Orzhov Adventure, and Esper Dungeon. So pretty cool to get an adventure deck back in there. We can see the play percentages here. Gruul Werewolves certainly dominating. Esper Dungeon's a super fun deck. And Is It Mill and Mono Green Rumpty Stompy. We can see the big shifts here. Gruul Werewolves really doing well. And again, certainly something to capitalize on. Selesnya life gain doing very well there. And again, stuff to capitalize on as we shift over. Anything that didn't get touched, those decks tend to get picked up right away as the meta adjusts. All right, so competitive scene, we see a little bit movement there with Is It Mill. A couple other things there. Esper Dungeon not doing as well. Gruul Werewolves still doing very well, being fairly consistent. Selesnya life gain again in that space. Let's go ahead and look at our competitive space. So Orzhov Control, Selesnya life gain, Mono black Sacrifice, Naya Werewolves in there. We got Gruul Werewolves. Let's go ahead and go to Diamond. Boros Dragons, Orzhov Clerics, Gruul Werewolves. And last but not least, Mythic, Orzhov Control, Orzhov Clerics, Naya Werewolves, Is It Mill, Azor's Control, Gruul Werewolves, Mono Black Sacrifice, and Boros Dragons. So that you can see a couple of the changes. All right, so now let's go to best of 3. Gruul Werewolves is what we got in best of 3, and Mono Green Stompy. And certainly you can see that continuation there. So very interesting. Nonetheless, we're not even going to go look at the next piece here. Let's hop over to Historic. So that closes out Alchemy for us. Now we got Historic, Mono Red Aggro, and #1, Selesnya Company, Selesnya Enchantress, Mono Green Elves, Zor's Control, Esper Reanimator, Zor's Auras, and Is It Phoenix. Here we can see a ton of those changes. Huge pop in Mono Red Aggro in terms of what's being played. Selesnya Company, and then the win rates here as well. Let's go ahead and look at the more competitive scene. Not too much changing on the win rates, a little bit more changing on the top end. And again, that can just be because of the heavy domination at the top of the tier list or the tiers, particularly playing Historic. Let's go ahead and look at each one. We got Selesnya Company, Mono Red Aggro, Selesnya Enchantress. Moving over to Diamond, here's what we got in Diamond. Rakdos Goblins, Mono Green Elves, Zor's Control, Mono Red Aggro. That's a good one. And then moving over to last here, we got Mythic, Mono Red Aggro, Mono Green Elves, Zor's Control, Esper Reanimator still in the space. There we go for best of 1. Let's pull that all the way back out. Let's see what's going on in best of 3. Golgari Food still at the top. Jeskai Creativity in there. Squirrel Twin. Is It Phoenix, Azor's Control, Rakdos Arcanus, 5-color Niv, and Jeskai Control. We can see some healthy playing on Azorus. Wow, look at that. Boom. And then everything else kind of adjusts. And then again, we can see some of those win rates. Squirrel Twin being a big fall down there. But that is okay, and that makes sense given our buddy getting a little bit nerfed there. Inquisitor. Next, let's go ahead and look at the competitive scene. Jeskai Creativity at the top. Golgari Food, Is It Phoenix, and the works. Let's look at it as it is. Squirrel Twin still doing well. Sliz the Enchantress, Rakdos Arcanus popping in there. Then we get to Diamond. In Diamond, we got Rakdos Arcanus, Azor's Control. Last but not least, Mythic. Is it Phoenix? There you go. Golgari Food, Azor's Control there for best of 3. So, my friends, big changes this week in terms of the typical stuff. Let's see if there's any fun action going on historic. Kinnon's back at the top. Nicol Bolas, Azusa, Lost but not seeking. Let's look at this one real quick. There we go. Look at that. You may play an additional land. Very, very cool. We'll go back there. Azusa. Heliod's in there. Synthis. Valky's in there as well. So pretty interesting there. Again, generally around 2 to 3%. We can see that. Wow, things really moving here in terms of what we have going on. Certainly probably impacted by some of the card changes potentially. But anyway, fun nonetheless. And again, from historic. So pretty cool nonetheless. So last but not least, what I wanted to touch on, we don't have, again, any new events because they're all going to be happening this week. We did kick off with our own Mythras Multiverse Tournament. Thank you to everyone that signed up. We got about 16 players. I'm looking forward to the results. We do a 24-hour queue, making sure players can connect. We are very encouraging of the diversity in time zones and accommodating as much as we can for this. So it's always fun. And also not kind of traditional from the sense that you got to sit down and pound out 8 hours too. So with that, looking forward to that and seeing what happens. And I may be sharing some of my videos from the tournament because I am going to try and make it myself. So looking forward to that and potentially playing many of you. So with that, Planeswalkers, that is this week's Friday night meta. I hope you enjoyed everything that we had today and that was going on. I look forward to bringing you next week's episode with hopefully some other cool updates and some weekend events. And maybe we'll see some shifts here as we move into Kamigawa. So with that, you take care, you stay safe, flip me that like, smash the subscribe, Planeswalkers. We'll see you again soon. And until next time, Mythras out.